Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I'm here at Apex 2024 and I'm joined by Bob Miller from SMTC. Bob, pleasure to talk to you.
It's nice, huh? I get to see you online all the time, and now I get to be here live with you, which is fantastic.
Bob Miller in person. Let's start by just exploring some of the mega trends that we're seeing in the manufacturing industry. A lot of your business is in defense, so geopolitics is affecting that, but it's also affecting where people choose to manufacture. What are you seeing there in terms of trends and demands maybe shifting a little bit?
It's a great point. We're seeing a couple of moving pieces, right? On the A&D side of that, you certainly have a lot of people that have appropriations. They want to make sure that money gets spent. So sometimes lead time and money don't go hand in hand, and you try to get that in and get it built and out the door. So we're seeing a trend where you're starting to see the velocity have to pick up in order to catch up to schedules. On the high reliability side, we have seen some trends where a lot of reshoring is taking place. So we're beefing up some of our capabilities in Mexico and some of our other factories to make sure the high reliability piece comes along with that, and along with the IPC standards and Class 3 and all the rest of those things. So we're seeing a big push in a couple of those areas.
Yeah, and I think Mexico is really interesting. When we look at companies decoupling with China, people are talking about Vietnam, India, Mexico as maybe the three key beneficiaries. You have a pretty large presence in Chihuahua.
We do. We have three footprints there. We're employed several thousand employees. We see a big push because of, you have NAFTA benefits. We can get a logistics center close to the border and run across just to El Paso and get stuff distributed really anywhere in the country, 2 days ground, which is pretty beneficial. So the company as a whole has made a major investment. Our footprint has almost grown 3x in Mexico just over the last 4 or 5 years. Supply chain is becoming a little bit better velocity. So we're able to get product down there. We're able to get serviced by the major suppliers in there just as we're getting serviced here. Our supply chain is working diligently to make sure that they get those relationships put in place so it can be cross-border and we can deploy anywhere we need to be. So.
Yeah. And you're seeing improvements in the supply chain. A couple of things happened. It was hard to get parts, so it was messing with your production schedule, which is a challenge for your guys. But also it was really sucking cash in and building inventory up to a high level. Have you managed to pull that down and managed to get lead times?
You know more about our business and cash flow than anyone else. So that has always been a challenge. How do I get enough parts to get everything in built? So we're seeing two trends happening. Lead times on more standardized components, analog, digital, caps, resistors, diodes, that's coming in. It's coming in relatively quickly. At the same time, anything that's AI generated, right? You look at NVIDIA today, that's going out. Yeah. So, you have to analyze that, partner with your customers, understand what their needs are so that you align. So when that next wave hits, same thing we went through with capacitors, 4 years ago, and the same thing we've gone through with flash, and the same thing we've gone through with processors and MOSFETs and all the rest of those things. You just have to make sure we align to say, what are those trends and how do I get in front of it with our customers? And I imagine you probably know that better than anybody. You see it from a macro level. We see it at a micro thing to say, hey, there is military components which are going obsolete, can't get them. At the same time, you have new technologies which everyone should move to.
Yeah.
So where's that cross point happen at?
Yeah. And the other thing you mentioned there is you have to partner with your customers, and I think that's something that we really learned during the last 5 years of constant disruption. We had the trade war, we had COVID, then we had the supply chain disruption.
Yeah.
The only way to get through that with a customer is to just have that really open, honest collaboration and say, we haven't got all these parts. What can we make? What do we need to get out of the door? That's really built some sticky relationships and maybe given you a bit more long-term visibility with customers. Is that something you've seen?
I think so. I'll just use several examples where we had customers when we went through the chip cap shortage, right? It was 3 years ago during COVID. And if you do have a relationship with a customer, you can get into their back rooms and saying, hey, you're using 08, 05 caps that have 52 weeks of lead time. But if you just move to an 04, 02 or an 01, your lead time is coming down half because they make 2x, 4x, or 8x of that component. So once again, getting the information to the customer, be able to posture it across their portfolio because they don't really care that the cell phone side is really busy if they're building back office, server type stuff. So I think the alignment is key and critical, and I think now people are more open to look at total acquisition cost, as opposed to saying, hey, who is the cheapest price? We like to say this, Philip. We are, everyone says, I got the best lead time, I have the best quality, and I have the best price. Well, we're free, perfect, and instant. Yeah. You get 2, I get 1. Which one of those don't you want?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you say it that way, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I guess it is a 3-legged stool, and I have to have all of those. And it opens the door to the relationship and want to help guide the supply chain.
Yeah, and I think, I think it's really interesting as we look through the supply chain disruption. The relationships with customers have got stronger. The relationships with distributors, not so much. They've been a little bit challenged. And I think what both sides need to learn from that is that fierce collaboration is the only way to make this business work.
Boy, I think you said that better than I've heard anybody say it. Fierce collaboration. It is that back and forth that allows you to posture yourself inside a supply chain, OEM, distribution, and the suppliers, right? Yeah. Whatever they are. And the elasticity in that chain changes. And so being in front of it, I think, is great. Fierce. I'm going to use that word, okay?
Yeah. We're talking about constant disruptions. The current disruption seems to be mainly economic. Obviously, some challenges with this year being an election year, both in Mexico and in North America. How do you see the rest of the year panning out?
Well, we see slight growth in demand, not the same robust growth we've seen for the last 3 or 4 years. The geo side of that, there's some factors that are taking place in Mexico that we're trying to keep an eye on because it does affect our labor. We're seeing the military side of that. My belief is everyone wants to get a lot of stuff out the door and to the places where it's needed really quickly, so that we don't have to worry about sequestration or anything like that in the future. So, once again, I think the sense of urgency that these markets have created are building some momentum that we have to pay attention to.
And you have to remain agile. You have to remain collaborative, fiercely collaborative with those customers, and that'll keep you going in the future.
I really like that. Well, we always say cheap but cheerful, right? We got to be low cost, but we got to get there really, really quickly. So I think you hit the nail on the head. The collaboration part is really what we're going to see over the next 2 or 3 years to take advantage of these macroeconomic trends, but we also have some microeconomics that are taking place in specific markets that we want to stay ahead of.
Yeah, and it was great to speak to Mickey earlier and actually back up your focus on customers with his extreme focus on operational excellence, because I think this year the efficiency of the business is as important as how you operate at the front end. So it's getting both of those in synthesis that really makes a difference.
I think you bring up a great point, and Mickey and I are here together and really trying to understand how do we align what our technology roadmap looks like along with our customers, right? What are we going to see here that allow us to be a better partner for our customer base? And that's why I think events like this are tremendous, and resources that you bring to the table, providing people with data, I think is a great way to reach that fierce collaboration that you say. So,
Bob, thanks for talking to me.
My pleasure.
Thanks for being on the show, and we'll chat again soon. Thank you.
I look forward to it. Okay, take care.